So I'm about to celebrate me and my wife's second anniversary. I'm already in trouble. And yeah, we got engaged during COVID in New York City, and my plan A fell through, so we wound up doing it on the subway. Yeah, which is actually way dirtier than Paris. And I remember I got down on one knee. I was wearing my little COVID mask. I pulled it down. We were both greasy and kind of disgusting. And I just got down on one knee and I was like, "Will you marry me?" I pulled out the ring and she just looked at me like, "What the fuck is happening?" And I was like, "Can you please just say yes? There's some kind of weird liquid rolling towards me." And she said yes, and then everyone in the train clapped, and it was really cute. They took our photos, terrible photos. We will not be sharing those. But then the train stalled out, and the lights went out. And this kind of hurt my feelings, because when the lights came back on, they clapped louder for that than they did for us. Fucked up to me. Yeah. I don't know. I guess my wife finds me attractive. I think I'm sexy. For a guy who loves anime. The real reason she married me, I think, is to be part of the tribe. Like, I took an ancestry test recently. It said, I am 98% Eastern European Jew and 2% Northeastern European Jew. Yes, I am biracial. But I really didn't get along with my community growing up. I used to get in trouble at synagogue. One time I snuck in a chicken parmesan sandwich. And I told my friend, "Chaim, listen, man, you gotta try this. It's amazing." And he tried it, and then he told his mom, and we weren't allowed to be friends anymore. And I remember going home that day and being like, I need a new culture. And I turned on the TV to watch cartoons, and for the first time in my life, I saw Dragon Ball Z. And they had Goku, the main character. He has this like jet black hair that sticks up, and he was powering up and it turned yellow, and I'm like, I want that to be my culture. I want to be able to get so angry I turn German. And then I realized, okay, this is Japanese culture. The closest thing I can do is study martial arts. And in my town, we didn't have karate or aikido, so I wound up taking capoeira, which is like Brazilian dance fighting, right? You make your opponent want to fuck you instead of fight you. I was like 11 years old, so I'd be practicing on the way home from school, and one day some guy, like creepy, peeked out from behind a tree and was like, "Ooh, I love your dance moves, boy. I love them." And I had to like kick him. I had to use them, and I was like, I'm quitting this shit. This martial art is creating the problems it was meant to solve. Eventually I got back in, I took karate, and I took first place in my first tournament. I'm like, yes, a grown man loves that I beat up another kid. This is awesome. And in that moment I was like, okay, this is how I am going to get revenge on the Jewish community for excommunicating me. I'm going to become an embarrassment to my people. And I pictured my first fight coming out to the ring, the circumciser! My fans were like, "Snip him! Snip him!" Yeah, I didn't make it that far. But I still was interested in Japanese culture for a long time. Like, I started studying Zen Buddhism in Japan, and that came really from college when I started doing psychedelics. Like, the first time I did acid was a revelation. Not as good as it has been for some people. Like Steve Jobs, the first step he took, he invented Apple. My first time, I wrote a poem about elves that live in my eyes. Love whipped cream. Yeah. But my favorite psychedelic is mushrooms, because they work exponentially. Like, you take 1/8 of mushrooms, you talk to God. Right? You take 2/8, you realize you are God. You take 3/8, you realize everything is God. You take 4/8, you realize you don't understand fractions. Yeah, the bigger the dose, the more useful the information. I had to chug a liter of ayahuasca to realize I need to start trimming my unibrow. But there is such a thing as too much psychedelics. Like one time I took almost an ounce of mushrooms, and I take responsibility for overdoing it with the dose. But what I do not take responsibility for is going back in time and impregnating Vladimir Putin's mom. Because I didn't do that. But at the end of that trip, I was pretty sure I did. Then I realized I was having sex with a Russian literature professor, Olga. So, my mistake. I dropped out of college. Let's be real, I failed out of college. And I decided to go south to where it was warmer. I was living in New York, and I wound up studying with the most enlightened, respected, venerable Buddhist monk in New Jersey. And what happened was my car broke down. I was going to Miami, I didn't make it. And I just was in this little beach town. It's a really shitty beach town if you don't know it. And I found out about this guy. This lady told me he's an amazing master. And I was like, what's his name? She said, it's Japanese. It's Daikobo Kukai McGillicuddy. And I was like, what's that mean? She's like, it's the mind of the universe for infinite time and space. McGillicuddy. And I was like, cool, I'll check it out. So I went to the class and we meditated, and afterwards she's like, does anybody need any help? Does anybody have a question? I was like, yes, I am lost. I need some direction in my life. And he's like, okay, I will do a guided meditation specifically for you. And I'd like to share it with you real quick. Okay, so everyone, take your right hand and put your pinky on your palm. Put your ring finger on your pinky, your middle finger on your ring finger, index straight up, thumb to the tip of your middle finger, put that on your chest, and repeat after me. I have no debt. I was kicked. No one repeated that. I have no debt. I was kicked out of college for being too cool. Andrew, stop running the light. All right, thank you very much. Have a good night.